And for those of us who have to travel on less exciting forms of transport, but nevertheless would like to visit some of the places in the series, there is an information pack with details on how to get there and any other facts that you might need. Not only that, but you don't need to hunt for the treasure, as there are £18 worth of vouchers included to be used at some of those locations. Now, the pack will be available at the end of the series, and to reserve one, send a cheque or postal order made payable to Channel 4 for £1.50 to Treasure Hunt. P.O. Box 4.
The poet Shelley said that the beauty of the Italian lakes surpassed anything he had ever seen. It was the English who really put these lakes on the map at the turn of the century, and they came in droves in the 20s and 30s. There are still boatmen who remember those salad days. Which is the oldest hotel, Antonio?
L'Hotel Regina è il più bello esterno come albergo, è anche il più vecchio. Sì.
This one over
Poi
here.
c'è Borromeo.
Yeah. Well, that's the famous one where Hemingway stayed.
Hotel di Stresa.
Antonio, have you had many famous people in your boat?
No, Toscanini, director.
Uh-huh.
Director, Toscanini.
See?
Hemingway.
Hemingway?
Hemingway.
When was that? When? Quando?
Del 1960.
I don't
Ministri,
understand.
conferenze.
Non capisco. Too complicated. In Stresa, you have to have a view of the lake. And at the Villa Minta, for instance, a room with a balcony is worth the extra. Romeo, Romeo. No, mustn't get carried away. Study the guidebook, for there's so much to see here, you've got to do a bit of planning. But romance is definitely in the air. Oh, well. The main attraction is sailing to the islands in Lake Maggiore. This enchanted garden is on Isola Madre, and so empty in May you feel you own the place. But like all the islands, it belongs to the Borromeos, one of Italy's oldest blue-blooded families. Only the peacocks disturb the peace. It's like stepping into a fairy tale. You half expect the frogs to turn into princes. Now the pièce de résistance. Another garden, another island. Isola Bella. Originally it was Isabella, when Count Carlos built a palace here and named it all after his beloved wife. That was in the 17th century. The famous historian, Gibbon, called it the work of fairies, and you can see why. Not everything is quite what it seems. This window's just a picture. Is this? It's a case of now you see it, now you don't. But then everything here looks like a stage set. A facade like a backdrop, a view without a room, a window without a view. It gets a bit confusing after a while. This is real. Part of the palace is still lived in by the current Borromeo family. Prince Charles and Princess Diana stayed here on a recent visit. The gardens aren't exactly understated either. And if you like Italian style, there's a lot of it about. What you might call really going for Baroque. Now you see it, now they don't. But things are looking up. I have a date with Walter, and you can tell I've been practicing the Italiano. Scusi, prego, mi può cantare una canzone dell'isola?
Certamente, signora, con piacere. Canto Isola Bella.
Bene, grazie. For years, Walter and his accordion have gone down a treat at the lakeside cafes. along with the Lombardy wine. Now you see it, now you don't, as the afternoon gets hazier. And you soon begin to realize these are not so much islands, more little worlds apart, each different and delightful in its own way. Here a medieval castle, there a monastery. But this is another lake, Orta, one of the smaller ones. The town of Orta is only half an hour's coach trip from Stresa, but many a step back in time. Legend has it this was the setting for the real Romeo and Juliet story, which Shakespeare borrowed for a plot. They've been painting the scenery again. If you can tear yourself away from this most idyllic of lakeside squares, find a boatman to take you to Orta's island, San Giulio, named after a Greek who arrived in 390. San Giulio is really a medieval village surrounded by water, a web of mysterious lanes filled with birdsong. The trouble is, with all this water about, convenient, if also somewhat conspicuous. I mean, everybody would always know where you were going. Back in Orta town, if you worked up an appetite, there's plenty of convenience food hanging about. The salami, sausages and hams are smoked up in the mountains and make a cheap picnic lunch. In Italy, you'll always find something to fill the gap. Orta's full of gorgeous little shops selling local goodies, and everything's displayed for maximum impact. It's that Italian style again. Grappa is strong stuff, but if you want something sweeter, try the honey liqueur made by the nuns on San Giulio. Eating out around the lakes is on the whole not expensive, so you needn't be nervous about choosing a restaurant that looks a bit special. No one minds if you just have a plate of pasta and a salad, and with wine that will rarely set you back more than about £8. Perhaps Shelley wasn't exaggerating. The Italian lakes are almost too beautiful to be true.
Well, that week at the Villa Minter Hotel on Lake Maggiore was in the...
All zipped up and ready to take the treasure trail.